Hi, Tiernan here from the Marketing Doctor, founder at Key Catalyst. We're a healthcare marketing agency based in the UK. I'm going to run you through how to actually set up an advertising campaign on Meta. I've audited a lot of accounts over the past week. I've run through 10 different clinics that are running ads on Meta, being Facebook and Instagram. And lots of people are making very fundamental mistakes, which kind of set your campaign up to fail from the get-go. So I'm going to run you through exactly how to set up a campaign yourself. So you can either, if you want to run ads yourself, you can do so, or you can at least check in and see what people are doing who run the ads on your behalf. So first thing we're going to do is go to Ads Manager. This is just from your general Facebook profile. And once we get in here, I'm going to jump into my own personal ad account instead of sharing any specific ads information with you from any of our clients. So this is just one of our ad accounts. I'll jump down here. So this is exactly what it looks like now when you jump into your ads manager. It should go without saying, but you don't need to boost any posts. You do need to jump in and set up your ads properly. So how Facebook works is that when you jump in, you're going to have to create a new campaign. If you do need help with setting up your ad account from the get-go, so it might not even look like this to begin with, then do let me know. I'm happy to help. But this is typically what it should look like. Facebook and Meta bring things into campaigns, ad sets, and ads. So what the first thing that we want to do is create a new campaign. So this is the first problem that people make. This is the first two problems that people make. Ignore any suggestion from Meta or from LinkedIn or from anyone to help you set up ads. It is always quite useless. They cannot get beyond an answer that has kind of two or three different variations in how you might respond to it. And so it's definitely not worth your time. These are the first mistakes that people make. They run awareness ads or traffic ads. You do not want to run either of these ads unless your advertising budget is over £10,000 per month. You really don't want to run either of these ads, except in very specific use cases. For context, we spend well over that across our portfolio of companies that we work with, and we only currently have one awareness campaign running for one client. So very extreme cases, we might do that. What you instead want to do is use sales or leads campaigns. Typically in healthcare, you want to set up a lead campaign. You can see down here that it tells us that it's for website or instant forms, WhatsApp Messenger, conversions, or calls. And we'll get in and talk about what each of these things mean. But we want to set up a leads campaign to begin with. Once we're in the leads campaign, we're going to call it something. So we're going to call it November. We're not in November anymore. We're going to call it December leads. Let's say GP if we're running ads for a GP. Campaign objective, we want to keep as leads. Budget strategy, I like using ad set budget. We'll explain what that means. We don't need to turn on A/B test, and we do not need to declare any specific special categories. So we can move that from this page now. And this is our campaign level. I'm going to jump into ad set. Again, we're going to name this something specific, but we'll speak about that in a different video when it comes to how we set up different ad sets and ads. I want to go over the fundamentals in this video. Next thing is your conversion location. So this is now what you actually want people to do. Facebook will try and, or Meta will try and get you to have multiple conversion places. I like just having one. So if we're using instant form ads, which you can use, but they are quite difficult to use and get right because the rate of bots who can fill in the form is very high. Again, I'll create a different video on this, but you essentially want to have either an instant form ad or website conversion location. or calls or WhatsApp. Typically, I don't know any healthcare provider that's used Instagram ads effectively, or Messenger. Sometimes WhatsApp can be used, sometimes calls. But in general, pick one conversion action that you want. Let's say, for the sake of it, that we're going to set up website conversions. So you want to have someone take an action on your website. What we now need to do is make sure that we have a data set. This is our pixel. This is the thing that's going to go to our website and tell Meta whenever a conversion has happened. This is, again, one of those fundamental things that people ignore, get wrong, don't care about, and it's pretty much the thing that will determine whether your ads work or not. So here's one that I've got. You can see here that it's got a conversions API set up. Super important to also set up your conversions API for two reasons. Your conversions API allows for server-side tracking, which basically means if lots of people have opted out of tracking, the tracking can still work because it uses server-side tracking rather than browser-side, which is what your Pixel uses. It also is just making the data a bit more accurate. So if with your Pixel, you'll maybe track 70% of conversions. With your conversions API working alongside your Pixel, you'll track maybe 90%. There will still be 10% that you won't track regardless. If you want to set that up, you go here, which is your events manager. And I'll set up another video explaining that. But if you're at that stage, do let me know and I'm happy to help. Just so you're aware, billing and payments here, also where you set up your billing and payments. And just a quick tip, if you're setting up ads for the first time, there are a lot of different companies, a lot of different banks that Meta, for some reason, does not like you using and will stop your ad randomly and suddenly if there's a payment that hasn't been made, even if you do have money in your account. And what you need to do to get around that is top up your ad account. So basically preload it with a set number of funds. Conversion event, again, super important aspect here. This is the technical aspect of running an ad. This is the part that bad agencies will overlook. It's the part that if you do it yourself, you will probably overlook. But this is basically, we're telling Facebook what event we wanted to optimize for. So how this works is I would go to my website. Let's just do this so you can get an idea. So if you jumped to my website, if I wanted to send an ad here, which I wouldn't for multiple reasons, but main one being it's not a landing page, but let's say I did, and I wanted people to click on this button, I would label this button as my lead event so that then I can set up the ad to optimize for that event. If you're this ad is inactive because we haven't been running ads recently. But if you're a healthcare provider, you're going to do that. You're going to have people fill in a form. You're going to have people book directly. So on your website, you'll have booking. But this is very important, cannot be ignored. Keep dynamic creative off. Set a daily budget. If you only want your ads to run at a particular time, you can do a lifetime budget and have your ads only run between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. as an example. Audience, don't use any particular audiences. You're not as good at targeting people as what Facebook's algorithm, Meta's algorithm is. So what you want to do is have specific locations that you target. So if you're a clinic based in London, just target in your specific borough in London as an example. Potentially even exclude Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, but otherwise keep everything very broad, let Facebook do its thing. Super important here. If you go to show suggestions, this is where you can change age also. So if you're a clinic that does particular types of surgery, particular types of treatments, you might want to adjust your age range. So, 30 plus or 40 plus, that's the only other area I would change. And you want to further limit the reach of your ads here. So you want to limit your audience from expansion. So Meta will try to expand your audience. You don't want that to happen. Placements is your next important thing. So you can see here, placement controls. You want to click on this and you basically want to remove everything that is not Facebook or Instagram. They will try to, go to here, platforms, they'll try to include these things, audience network, messenger, and threads. You want to untick all of these. You will not get any improvement in your conversion data by having these enabled, but you will get lower cost per clicks often, but it's kind of junk clicks. No one is actually taking a purchasing action from these platforms, so just stick with Facebook and Instagram. The same applies. You'll see here again, they'll try to be sneaky and allow limited spend to your excluded placements. You want to remove that. And everything else here is fine. So our ad set is now set up. Now we're going to jump into your ad. You're going to have to link the page that you want to use and link your Instagram account. If you don't have one, you can use your Facebook page on Instagram, but it's better to link it if you do. When you go to your ad setup, you can see it's just taken some graphics from my website. I want to remove multi-advertiser ads. Sometimes we keep this on. We haven't seen a huge difference in conversions with it on or with it not on. We then want to have a single image or video or carousel ad. Typically, we recommend having multiple different ads. So this new leads ad, we would have multiple of these, each with a different creative, 5 or 6 different creatives, 2 of them being images and 3 or 4 being videos. You want to add the website that you're sending people to. You then want to call it something nicer. So I might call this, GP appointment London, or wherever we want it to be, with www in front of it, something that looks nicer. I then also do not do any browser add-ons because we just want our conversion action to be the one that we want people to take. Then I'm going to set up the creative from here. Again, tracking needs to be accurately set up in this area. The only other thing that is worth covering in this very fundamental is that when you set up a creative, and I'll just add one to give you an idea. So after you upload your creative using this button, this is one that we ran previously as an example. If I click next, it'll give me the option to trim the video. Usually do this off app rather than in app. Click skip and continue. It'll give you the different suggestions. These are fine. If you want to really optimize your ads, you can adjust the creative that's used here by clicking replace so that it fills the space. Here you can do primary text, all that sort of stuff, not important for now. You want your call to action to be congruent with what you're actually asking people to do. So if you're asking people to book, you don't want to have it be learn more. If you're asking people to apply, use apply, use book where needed, use download where needed. Just have it be congruent with the rest of your funnel. These are the next things where meta are slightly sneaky that you don't want to happen. You've already spent time putting together your creative. You do not want meta messing around with AI and adding video effects, text improvements. You can see in a second they'll try and do it again. So I've turned all these off. If I go to my creative setup, let's just double check. These are fine. You can see we turned on 3 enhancements. So it's turned these 3 on. Whenever we click publish, we can remove them because we do not want those enhancements. So you're aware, you do not need to include a description in your ad. Your headline and primary text are the areas where you want to adjust things. You'll usually want to keep your headline and your primary text super specific. You can see that primary text is what appears above the ad. Headline is what appears here. So usually you have your bold call out in the headline or your offer, and you want to have a bit more information in your primary text. If you're a private healthcare provider, you typically want to include location, price, and service in your primary text, and then one of the 3 that I just mentioned, usually service and price or service and location in your headline. Hope this was a helpful summary of how to actually set up an ad. Once this is all done, you just click publish. I typically then just go and duplicate the ad and then change the creative in order to test a few different creatives.